Hey everybody, my name's Ed. Okay, so we're gonna do another quick film review. This time it's going to be Across 110th Street. Okay, so from 1972, directed by Barry Shear, starring Anthony Quinn and Yaphet Kotto, an interesting crime drama from the early 70s, sometimes lumped in with the black exploitation trend of the time. So some small-time hoods steal money from the mob. Of course, the mob wants it back and they'll use any means to do so. The mob's tactics ruffle the feathers of their criminal contacts in Harlem. Meanwhile, an over the hill racist white detective and his new partner, a younger black detective, butt heads as they try to get to the bottom of things. Okay, so to get into the plot a little bit more, disguised as policemen, a couple of thieves break into a Harlem apartment where some mafia operatives are counting money. So the thieves shoot them in and they take the money and they get away in a car driven by a third man. The mafia patriarch assigns his son in law to retrieve the money and restore the mob's reputation in the area. So Anthony Quinn is a middle aged cop who's shown to be an effective police officer and empathetic to the residents of the neighborhood. But on the other hand, he's somewhat racist and definitely engages in police brutality when questioning suspects. So Yaphet Kotto is a younger black cop who, on one hand, is trying to change the system from within, but when other black people expect empathy from him, he resists. Now, one of the thieves begins to spend his share of the money in very public and foolish ways, and he starts attracting attention. So much so that one of the partners begins to get nervous about being found out. The third partner expresses to his wife how he feels he was forced into the robbery by circumstances of being middle-aged black ex-con with no job skills. We also see the black mob bosses who work for the Italian mob, but doesn't kind of bow down to them and seems to have his own ambitions. And the movie, it's also kind of beyond the actual crime. It is about ambition and opportunities and lost opportunities and whatnot. So on that note, the movie addresses various issues related to race and class and crime, as well, like I said, as personal ambition and generational conflicts. So the movie is also full of racial slurs. So I'm not sure a modern Hollywood movie would handle such material the same way. But the Quinn Kodo conflict symbolizes not only black versus white or liberal versus conservative, but also young versus old. There's the younger mob boss who's desperate to prove his place in the organization. There's the one thief who laments his missed opportunities, as well as, like I said, the black criminals who see this conflict as a chance to increase their own status. This dialogue is not super verbose, but the actors are able to make the best of what they've got. And with expressions and pauses, they're able to fill in things that aren't obvious from just the words. Some of the drawbacks of the film is that it is a low budget affair. There's some impressive shots during the opening credits, but most of the movie seems to be an inexpensive shoot. There's that 70s jump cut editing that you saw in a lot of films of the time. Sometimes it's quite effective, but sometimes it's sloppy and sometimes poorly lit. I kind of think the film might have had been more highly regarded if it had a bigger budget, maybe a little bit more production time. But having said that, the bare bones approach does add to the grim atmosphere that draws the viewer in. Now, overall, I thought the movie was fairly engaging. I liked the actors, I liked the tension. I like that they gave a couple of small time thieves a bit of character development and depth. I like the parallels between the investigations done by the mob versus the investigations done by the police. The movie does touch on various, like I said, social and personal issues, and it doesn't give an easy answer to any of them. And ultimately, it kind of ends on a cynical note. So to wrap it up, Across 110th Street, I thought was a fairly gripping film. It started with a decent premise and has some really good actors. The film is engaging and well paced. It's an interesting genre flick that also works as a time capsule slash commentary on crime and race, as well as changing politics of the 70s. The film is flawed, and I'd say that's more due to its production values rather than its story structure. But the filmmaking is still professional. But like I said, it's clearly a product of its era, and it's a low budget. But again, despite its shortcomings, it's still an entertaining and interesting film. Okay, so that's it. Thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. And you guys have a great day. Thank you.